This is part 5 of our Breaking Into MedTech series. In part 4, we talked about how to find the people worth talking to and how to make a strong first impression when you're in the room. Today, we go one level deeper into what happens when someone says yes. When they give you their time and you sit down across from them for what we are going to call an informational meeting. Not an interview, a meeting. That distinction matters, and we will come back to it. Before we go any further, I want to address something that most career content gets wrong. They assume everyone watching is in the same situation. They are not. And if you are an experienced professional watching this, and you think this video is only for new grads, stay with me, because what an informational meeting looks like depends entirely on where you are in your career. And this video is built for all three types of people who might be sitting across from someone in medtech right now. The first is what we call the learner. This is an early career candidate or new grad who is starting from zero. No medtech experience, no industry contacts. The informational meeting for the learner is purely about learning, about the person, the therapy area, the functional role, the landscape. Everything in this video applies to you. The second is the leverager. This might be someone who has spent time in pharma or in a different therapy area within medtech and is now trying to pivot into a new one. You have some foundational knowledge. You understand the industry language and culture at a basic level, but there are gaps, and you are trying to figure out how to leverage what you have into where you want to go. The informational meeting for the leverager is partly about learning and partly about positioning. We will get to that. The third is the competitor. This is an experienced candidate who is already working within the therapy area and is having a conversation with a hiring leader about what a move might look like. Here is the truth about this meeting. It is not really an informational meeting at all. The hiring leader has almost certainly already looked you up before you walked in. There is a good chance they already know people you know, and everybody in that room knows what this conversation is actually about. So get to business. We will talk about what that looks like too. Know which one you are, because the meeting looks different for each of you. Before you walk into that meeting, there is work to do. And the amount of work you do before you arrive will determine almost everything about how the meeting goes. This applies most directly to the learner and the leverager. If you are the competitor, you already know the landscape. Your preparation looks different, and we will get to you shortly. For the learner and the leverager, start with your therapy area and your functional role of interest. We have talked about this across parts 2 and 3, and by the time you are sitting down for an informational meeting, you need to have a starting point. It does not have to be perfect. You do not need to have everything figured out. But it cannot be zero. If you walk into an informational meeting and the first thing you say is, "I am not really sure what area I want to be in yet," the person across from you is going to wonder why they are there. You need to show up with enough intentionality that they can see you're taking your career seriously. The meeting is for uncovering the questions you still have, not for outsourcing the decisions you should have already started making. Next, research the person you're meeting with. LinkedIn is useful here, so is a basic Google search, because you might find things that do not show up on their profile. They might have been published in a trade journal, they might belong to an industry association, they might have spoken at a conference, they might have been mentioned in a company press release. Any of those details give you something genuine to reference when you sit down. And showing that you did the homework signals immediately that you are someone worth investing time in. Prepare your questions in advance. Write them down. Bring a notebook and a pen to the meeting, not a phone, not a laptop, not a tablet. A notebook and a pen. When you take notes by hand in front of someone, it tells them you are paying attention and that what they are saying matters enough to write down. Turn your phone on silent before you walk in. Not just to vibrate, silent. If you're wearing a smartwatch, turn the notifications off. The person across from you should feel like the most important thing in your world for the duration of that meeting. Any distraction, a glance at your watch, a buzz on the table, a screen lighting up, tells them they are not. And finally, show up early, not on time. Early. Under no circumstances should you arrive after the person you're meeting with. They gave you their time. The least you can do is be there before they are. If you are meeting at a coffee shop and you have their cell number, send them a quick text when you arrive and ask what they would like. That small gesture costs you almost nothing and leaves an impression that lasts far longer than anything you will say in the meeting itself. It signals that you are considerate. that you are already thinking about them before the conversation has even started, and that you understand the value of someone else's time. When you first reach out to request the meeting, ask for their cell number. Keep it simple. Something like, "If anything changes on the day, I want to make sure we can reach each other quickly." Most people will give it without hesitation. And having that number means you can handle any last-minute changes without the friction of email, and stay in touch in a way that feels natural rather than formal. When you sit down, resist the urge to launch straight into your questions. Nobody wants to feel like they just sat down across from someone holding a clipboard. Start with a little warmth, a moment of small talk, something genuine that came out of your research, a conference they recently attended, something they posted about, a shared connection you discovered. This is not wasted time. This is how you shift the energy of the room from formal to human. And a meeting that starts human stays human all the way through. Then, once the ice is broken, set a loose agenda. Briefly, naturally. Something like, "I really appreciate you making time for this. When I first reached out, I mentioned that I am at a stage in my career where I am trying to understand the landscape better and learn from people who have been in it. My goal today is to learn about your career journey, get your perspective on the industry, and ask a few questions that I have been sitting with. I want to make sure I respect your time, so before we start, how long do you have today?" That last question is important. Confirm how much time they have at the very beginning so you can pace yourself accordingly. If they say 30 minutes, you know to be concise. If they say an hour, you can go deeper. And as you approach the end of that time, acknowledge it. Let them know you are aware the time is nearly up and you have one or two more questions if they are willing. They will either tell you they have a hard stop, and they will respect you for anticipating it, or they will say stay as long as you need because the conversation is going well. Either outcome is a good one. For the competitor, your opening looks different. There is a good chance this hiring leader already knows who you are or knows someone you know. Lead with that. Reference a common connection early if there is one. It establishes credibility and rapport instantly. Then get to business. You both know why you're there. The meeting should reflect that. For the competitor, your opening looks different. There is a good chance this hiring leader already knows who you are or knows someone you know. Lead with that. Reference a common connection early if there is one. It establishes credibility and rapport instantly. Then get to business. You both know why you're there. The meeting should reflect that. For the learner and the leverager, think of this as a reverse interview. You are the one asking the questions. But unlike a formal interview, nobody is on trial here. This is a conversation between two people, one who has been somewhere and one who is trying to get there. The best informational meetings feel relaxed, curious, and genuinely enjoyable for both people in the room. The questions that tend to open people up most are the ones that invite them to reflect on their own journey. How did you get into this industry and what drew you to this particular therapy area? What does a typical week look like for you in your role? What do you wish you had known when you were starting out? What has surprised you most about this industry over the course of your career? Where do you see the biggest opportunities coming in the next 5 years? What disruptive forces do you think could change the landscape significantly? How do you view the competitive dynamics in your division right now? Those questions give the person permission to share what they actually know and care about, not just what they think you want to hear. And when someone is talking about something they genuinely care about, the conversation takes on a completely different energy. Take notes throughout. Write down the things that resonate. Write down the things that surprise you. Write down the questions their answers raise for you. A good informational meeting will leave you with more questions than you arrived with, and that is exactly how it should be. And before you close the question portion of the meeting, ask them one more thing. Ask what else you could be doing to prepare yourself for a career in this particular functional role or therapy area. Share briefly what you have already done, and then invite their opinion on what more you could be doing. It might be a book they recommend, an industry website that governs their particular field, a conference that comes around annually that they think would be worth attending. That question shows humility and a genuine desire to keep learning. And it gives the person across from you a tangible way to help you that goes beyond just answering your questions. At some point in the meeting, the conversation will turn to you. The person you're meeting with will want to know about your background, your interests, where you are in your journey. For the learner, this is not the moment to pull out your resume. This is not the moment to launch into a 5-minute pitch about your internship. And it is absolutely not the moment to tell them exactly what role you want and ask whether they have any openings. If you do any of those things, you have just turned an informational meeting into a job interview that nobody agreed to have. And the person across from you will feel it. Instead, be honest about exactly where you are. Share what you have learned so far and be upfront about the gaps in your knowledge. It is completely legitimate to say something like, "From what I have learned so far, a field-based clinical role is appealing to me for these reasons. But I still have questions about what that path actually looks like in practice, and that is partly why I wanted to speak with someone who has lived it." That kind of answer shows you have done work, shows self-awareness about what you still do not know, and shows that you are in this meeting for the right reasons. For the leverager, you have more to share, and you should share it. Reference your foundational knowledge. Talk about what your time in pharma or in a different therapy area has given you. Be honest about the gaps, but do not hide from the substance you have already built. You are not starting from zero, and the person across from you should know that. For the competitor, if the conversation turns to you, it is because they want to know what you can bring. So tell them. Clearly, confidently. What relationships do you have? What commercial experience? What results have you driven? What would you bring on day one that their current team does not have? This is your moment. Do not underplay it out of politeness. Authenticity for the competitor means being direct about your value, not modest about it. As the meeting comes to a close, there are 2 things you need to do well, and most candidates get at least one of them wrong. The first is the closing ask. Before you say goodbye, for the learner and the leverager, ask the person whether there is someone else they think it would be worth speaking to. Be intentional about how you frame it. If you are early in your career, ask whether they know someone 2 or 3 years into the kind of role you are exploring who might be able to give you a ground-level perspective. If you have an MBA, ask whether they know someone who came into the company through a business program and has progressed into a leadership role. If you're a leverager, ask whether they know someone who made a similar pivot from pharma or from a different therapy area and might be willing to share how they navigated that transition. The more specific and genuine your ask, the more likely they are to say yes. The second is the follow-up. Send a message the same day, not the next morning, the same day. Keep it brief. Thank them for their time. Reference something specific from the conversation that genuinely resonated with you. Show them that what they shared actually landed and helped you see something differently. That message takes 5 minutes to write, and it is the difference between a meeting that turns into a relationship and one that disappears. If they committed to introducing you to someone and that introduction does not come in a few days, follow up politely, simply. Remind them of the conversation, thank them again, and let them know you're still very much interested in speaking with whoever they had in mind. Pleasantly persistent, not desperate, not annoying, just consistent and professional. And if a particular meeting does not lead anywhere, if you picked the wrong person or the chemistry was not there or the conversation simply did not open any doors, that's fine. It is not the end of the road. It is just one door that did not open. Keep knocking. The road is not always straight and smooth. It zigzags. And the candidates who eventually break into this industry are almost always the ones who kept going after the doors that did not open because they knew the right one was still ahead of them. MedTech is a journey career. And this meeting, whether you're the learner, the leverager, or the competitor, is one step on that journey. Make it count. This is part 5 of the Breaking Into MedTech series. Parts 1 through 4 are all linked in the description below. Part 6 is coming next. The full series playlist is on the channel and in the description. Subscribe so you do not miss it.